It's a dream to be here. We are launching our operations in India.
All right.
It's been a long road. We have been working for this for a year and a half, and now we have the full support and a big encouragement by CII and Young Indians, and also TIE in a sense. And we've been able to launch our first program that will happen 20th and 21 July.
Which brings me to the question: what is Scalabl all about?
Great. The first thing Scalabl is a community of good-hearted, like-minded people all over the world that join together to learn and to put into practice this knowledge, building startups, improving companies, and achieving their own purpose. And by doing that, taking care of the world in a sense.
Talking about startups, Mr. Francisco, what do you think about the startup culture in India, or per se in Bangalore?
We have operations in 13 countries already, and we are opening many more, like China, Saudi Arabia, Australia, so it's very broad. And before opening any operation, I go myself, I travel through the ecosystem, I see the universities, the co-working spaces, the accelerators, VCs. And when I came to India, I had a very promising encounter with another type of ecosystem. I usually question the current startup global ecosystem. I think it's all handled by intermediaries that are getting the biggest gain in expense of entrepreneurs and investors even. And in India, I saw a very big role of universities.
Right.
There's a startup culture from the start. And in the moment universities are the link to accelerators, or they become accelerators themselves, the protection of the entrepreneur comes first.
Right.
So I don't see it in many startup ecosystems around the world, and this makes me think it's very promising. And on the other hand, investment is going to flow into India very strongly, because India is one of the most promising countries in the world. But when I talk to people in the ecosystems here, they say, okay, we don't have enough VCs, we don't have enough funding, and I think that is a blessing for India.
How do you say that? I mean, you are into building companies, businesses. Without funding, how does one go ahead with the dream of a startup?
Well, imagine this idea of funding started very recently. If you see all the SMEs and all the companies, India has a lot of medium companies, no?
Right.
And all these medium companies, many of them became very big and very successful, and many of them remain in their size but are very successful still.
Right.
We have billions of people and millions at least of companies.
Right.
All these companies didn't started with a VC investment of millions of dollars. So from them to become medium or go to big, there are business skills, it depends on the market, it depends on the product you build, and many business model aspects. So that is to start. Then again, when I started Scalabl 4 years ago in Argentina, we started without one penny, and we built till now 300 companies all over the world, and with our methodology we focus on no initial need for investment. This seems crazy in the beginning, but when I put people together, CFOs, we did this exercise. I was a speaker in the G20, and I do it in many courses. I did it in Harvard, different places, and I ask people what investment is, and try to do this exercise. Write down now what investment is.
Right.
Usually people don't know what it is. And investment is not simple to grasp, even for, I do this in insurance companies, I do this in companies where people are very technical, and it's not clear even for the most expert people. And in reality, we think we need investment because we're told we need investment, and all the ecosystem is built in highlighting that the best entrepreneurs are the ones who get to more rounds and bigger rounds. And we're talking, imagine this concept of unicorns, no? We're talking about unicorns. Unicorn is a startup that gets $1 billion valuation. If you know something about, and I'm gonna be super simple here, if you want to value a company, there are many ways of doing it. One of it is multiples. Multiples is multiplying by a number the earnings you have or the revenue you have. Imagine you take the revenue, multiplying by 10 for a startup, it's really conservative.
Right.
So if you get a round, a Series A round, I mean any round where investors put money into your company of 100 million, that company is already considered, for 10%, that company is already considered a unicorn.
Right.
So we're talking about unicorns everywhere there. Even my grandma is hunting unicorns. I say she's playing like a Pokemon Go to go and find unicorns. And in reality, those companies haven't started or have little sales, little customers, and they're not real. Even I can anticipate that Uber in the stock market, it's a company that will never win money. It's a company that has been doubled and doubled and doubled in investment. It doesn't have any barrier of entry. They are losing market in every continent to competitors. Then they buy them up again to have an excuse to continue spending money. So what I do in the course at first is I explain why this happens, and usually when this happens, someone is benefiting from it. And in this case, it's the financial intermediaries. Every round they build, they get a stake. A part of it stays with them, even if the companies go well or go wrong. So there are many ways of building companies without investment. It's simple like this. In the end, business is not more than adding value to someone. Life is not more than adding value to someone. If you have an objective, you like a girl and you want that girl to be reciprocate with you, you need to give value to someone, maybe to your mother-in-law, maybe to someone. You know, it's all like this. And once you find the needs and the pains and what a segment wants, and you then know how to generate that product, imagine I give you something you really desire, and I get a way to do it, with suppliers, with many possibilities. Wouldn't you pay in advance for it?
Right.
If you start thinking about it, why, if you have a great business, you can sell the product in advance to your customer that is dying to have it, and tell him, okay, in 1 month you're gonna have it, I do a little discount, you check with your supplier how much it's gonna cost, you put a margin on it, and you're winning money. And if you see many of the best businesses around, for example, I don't know how it works in India, but in many, many countries, when you're getting married, the woman wants a beautiful dress, and they want to have a specific dress. If you see that business, sometimes the woman who makes the dresses, she's in a little room, she has one sample of some textiles or whatever, she shows you a magazine of which dress do you like, she makes you pay in advance, and then you go for the first trial of your dress, and then you go again. That model is fantastic.
Right.
She only needs her knowledge, or she can outsource in someone else that can build dresses, not even her, and do a business without any investment. And if you start looking around, this already happens in many industries. Graphic design. I can sell you, you need your website. Okay, yes, I sell you your website. For sure, there are many freelancer sites. I can get someone to do the website cheaper than what you're willing to pay in a high quality. So in that intermediary role, I can do almost everything, and it's not the only way. So we've invented a methodology that step by steps allows very simple people and very postgraduate people with a lot of titles and experience to be together in the same room and help each other from different life experiences and build real businesses that can grow and be profitable from the start.
Well, I can listen to you the whole day. You should be a radio presenter.
Oh,
actually,
thank you
not
very
me.
much.
No, but when you start
Yes.
building a business, what are the three things, or what are the most important things that you see and say, you know what, I'm going to back this business?
Fantastic. Well, the first thing is business model. In the business theory, business models are... We started paying attention to business models in the last 5 years. And then the startup ecosystem took this as a tool to make more deals and more rounds and win more money. So they share with everyone Alexander Osterwalder's 9 square business model. They don't explain it well, and they try in a hackathon to give money to everyone to put them into the system. That tool, modified, we use something else, but modified in the right way, it's a very powerful tool. It allows you to see that everything in your business is consistent. And a business model, to simplify for everyone, is we talked about giving value. So you're offering value to someone. This person is gonna know about your business through a communication channel. You're gonna get the product to them or the service through a distribution channel, and you're gonna have a sales channel. That can be e-commerce, selling in the street, selling in a store, etc. And then all that, you're giving value to someone, you're capitalizing somehow. So business is not more than taking a part of that value for yourself. On the other hand, you need to make this happen. So how you're gonna make this product happen? I was talking about suppliers, it's a way, or you can hire people yourself and make it happen. So you have your cost structure that depends on the activities you do and how you do them. business model is just that. So every company has one. But in general, everyone like me that has been trained a lot in business, they taught us everything apart, like marketing, human resources, logistics, nothing mixes together. And then on the career, you specialize on something. So you're the super expert on marketing. So we have lost the capability, people without knowledge and with knowledge, to see everything together. So the first thing is, am I really giving value to someone? Is this person or this group of people, because it needs to be a good group of people, willing to pay for it? Is this group of people interesting enough and big enough? How I'm gonna get money from this? Which is the revenue model? I'm gonna charge a price, I'm gonna charge a subscription, I'm gonna give it for free and then give them like a freemium extra things. Then again, once you have your business model, this is very important. There are a lot of things that fall apart in our course because there are a lot of lies out there that are making entrepreneurs fail. First, startups are not risky. We can explain also that, why you can do startups in a way you don't get into a lot of risk. Then, it's very important to work as a team. This idea of not even like partners, but showing your startup without being afraid of your idea getting out there, because ideas by themselves are not worth anything without execution. And even showing your idea to the most diverse people bring in a lot of interesting information if you can judge what to keep and what not to keep. I believe that there are many things that are important. The other thing is entrepreneurs fall in love with their product, and when they learn business models, they fall in love with their business model. And it's about entrepreneurship is not only intellectual, it's also relational and emotional.
Right.
And that's the most important part, because I see entrepreneurs fail in their career, especially because of the emotional part. You become an entrepreneur, no? And your family immediately doesn't understand what you're doing. And your friends immediately don't understand what you're doing. And if you were successful before, they say, why are you doing this? If you weren't successful before, they will say you will never do it, you're alone. And I always teach that family and friends will overestimate you every time or underestimate you.
Right.
In a sense, they want to protect you. So you need not to hear to the close ones. You need to hear to your customer segment. But having opinions from different places is good. There are many traps out there. The other important thing is this. You need to solve something to someone that will be willing to pay for it. And in general, that person already tried to solve the thing, or it's already struggling with the thing. And open conversations with these people instead of doing surveys or putting a lot of money in Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, that it will be powerful later in the sales part. Just inviting someone for a coffee from your target market and asking open questions and getting to build the relationship before is super important to understand. In a way, we say that doing business is facilitating, look at this because it's unbelievable, but we've seen it once and again. It's facilitating the process in which one customer segment tells you what they need and which is the pain they have. They tell you how to solve the problem, in not each of them or one of them, but between listening to every one of them, you get to the solution. It's not your product, it's humbleness. It's the consumer knows how to solve it. They don't have time to solve it. Or they didn't figure it out because they were one. But if you listen many of them with the problem, you get to the solution. And then they give you part of the value just by facilitating the process. So it's another mindset of approach.
Now you mentioned that startups are not risky.
Yes.
That said, there have been a lot of startups all around the world, including India, which have had great ideas, but somehow failed to take off.
Fantastic.
Now those people are back to jobs, 9-to-5 jobs. What advice would you give, entrepreneurs, who have this fear of failing, especially when they come up with their startup?
Well, first, we need to change that word, failing, into learning.
Right.
If you assume the model I propose, in which you don't bet all the money and then you go into failure, that means you lost the money, you lost your house, you need to work forever.
Right.
But you test and you learn and you do it little by little before putting all that money. And you only put money when $1 becomes more than $1 in a predictable way. Then the failure stops being failure.
Right.
It's testing and learning and learning and learning, and then you apply it to your life and you become more powerful. Then the second one is don't leave your job to be an entrepreneur, because it's not necessary. They will tell you it is because they want you to receive the money and enter into this like meat cutting machine that will never stop. But in reality, if you start studying and reading, and there are so powerful books and things out there, and building your business in your Netflix time, I mean, when you go back home and instead of working, you need to rest, and instead of watching a movie, you work on your passion and your future. In a sense, you don't have an opportunity cost. And why stopping your job before knowing your venture is gonna work or it's working already? It doesn't make sense. On the other hand, risk, every country is different, but risk, if you think a little bit, and this is also tough to get there, but it's easy if you think it's simple. Risk is only going bankrupt. To go bankrupt, you need to lose more money than the money you win.
Right.
So then I play with in the academy, I play a lot with this concept, and then we get to a solution. I ask people, not only we're gonna build no investment companies, we're gonna build no risk companies. So how can we do a company not to have risk? And very simple, I explain it. You have your income, no? And then you have your expenses.
Right.
If your income minus your expenses goes negative, you're losing money. You can stand that over time. If you can't finance yourself, you go bankrupt. But again, forget the financing part. If your income is always bigger than your expenses, fantastic. What's income? Income is product or service you're gonna sell, has a price and has a quantity. If the price is bigger than the variable, if the price is, in a sense, if the price from the income it's bigger than the variable cost of the unit you're selling, at least your variable costs are covered. Variable costs is if I'm selling a pen, it's how much the pen costs. So if I buy a pen for 5 and then I sell it for 10, in a sense I can never lose. So why companies go bankrupt? Because there are another certain aspect of costs that has to do with the operative costs that are my salary, other salaries, the marketing expenses, the rents, etc. When you start, you don't need to get the office, you don't need to get the secretary, you don't need to buy your car or your truck for delivery. You can do all this from a Starbucks, working with people in another continent, doing the best job possible. And if you tie your sales to your costs in a way that whenever you sell, then you're gonna expand, and you get the payment first and then you pay, you can never lose. And it seems very crazy, like, okay, then you only can do it for services, or you can only do it for, but if you think well and manage the methodology, you can do it even for very complex capital things. So you can do it for very complex businesses. And we've done that all over the world once and again, and that's why we're growing so much.
Have you met any startups from India?
Yes, many. I think.
What do you think about their business model, their formula of approach?
Okay, this idea I mentioned of the universities being like the starting point of the startups in India makes, in general, business models much more solid than in other places.
Right.
That's great. But on the other hand, all over the world, the thing is so manipulated that in a sense the theories are not explained right, and the business part of it, it's not taught. So then people make usual mistakes, that it's they start well, but then they get the first round and they start hearing to investors, and investors will tell them, we need to grow fast, we need to spend fast. Grow fast to get more valuation and sell the company, because investors only win when they exit. This idea that they convinced us that exiting is great, it's not great at all. You have your purpose, you want to build a company, you want a legacy, you want to do something great. Why would you sell your company from the start before starting? And on the other hand, the entrepreneur doesn't need to trick himself. He's gonna be the last to exit. Just imagine the company goes fantastic, no? Then the investors exit, and then the one who buys will ask the entrepreneur buy a contract to stay 2 years handling the company. The company won't be real, because they never build real companies. They build big monsters that will fall, but they exit before.
Right.
If it falls when the entrepreneur is trying to keep it for 2 more years, that is just the moment when the investors exited, because they exit 1 minute before it falls, then the entrepreneur loses again. And even if the company was better than the others, and even staying there for a lot of time. So in a sense, what I propose entrepreneurs is don't rush. Don't believe this crazy bubble that everyone is gonna be a billionaire. This unicorn thing is not true. For someone, I'm expecting these unicorns to win, $10,000 a month, and they won't get there. They won't get there. It's all a lie. It's like they will have a lot of revenue, but a lot of expenditure, and they will always lose money.
Right.
With minimum cases that work. Like India has a lot of cases that are fantastic. I love Paytm. I love Fast India. It's called the clothing and apparel brand that works with the people that.
Clothing, apparel, and brand that works with the people.
Fast Track?
No,
Fast Track is the
Fabindia.
Fabindia.
I love Fabindia's case.
Right.
There's a lot of companies here that are very well. Tata as an example. I think there are many companies to look here. There's a lot of technical talent. There's a lot of talent. If you see the word, the other day I had this experience. I posted on LinkedIn. I reposted something that was talking about many CEOs that are Indian, and I shared my admiration for India. I usually have 10,000 views per post. This one went to 1,700,000.
Wow.
So imagine it's not only that you are many people. People admire the country. People love the country, and really the leaders I see all over the world, many of them are Indians.
Right.
The talent is here. The conditions are here, and I think and that's why I'm very interested in coming here and putting a lot of strength here, and I don't come here to build something full of Argentinians. I come here to build a legacy with Indians. I want the leaders to be Indians. I want a global community where each country is led by the people in the country, and then they relate.
Right.
And maybe many years from now, people from other countries come, but Indians go somewhere else. But it needs to be like that, no?
Right. Now, Scalabl is in 14 countries,
Yes.
you said. Any country that has been a challenge and that you want to make your entry there?
It's what I discovered. This depends a lot on the company you're running. I advise every entrepreneur who's trying to go international not to put, as they say in the theory, a general manager and a commercial manager and a marketing manager and forget about the country.
Right.
That will never work. You need to go yourself. You need to live it yourself. You need to learn it yourself. See the difference is country by country. It will change per business. In Scalabl, what I've discovered is the methodology. I imagined I did it myself because I at first imagined I would have to change it country per country,
Right.
and it's very stable. The relationships with people and the chemistry you get in the program and how everyone relates and fun and whatever happens the same in every country. What's changing is how to sell the program and who to target the program to. So in some countries it becomes challenging till we do this with a professional sales tool, we teach in the course, till you get the right thing that works. For example, Dubai. Dubai was being challenging. We had our 4 sessions over a month course, and it wasn't working well. We were going to have the first session, but it wasn't. Then some Saudi friend said, I want to go to the course, but I can't travel 4 times. It's complicated. Why don't you do a full weekend, super intense one? I said, well, but it's not what I offer. But then I remember what I teach. Listen to the customer. He wants to do it. He wants to come. So I launched just an alternative today's one. Everyone who was enrolled in the long one switched to the small one. And that it has the same hours, but all compressed.
Right.
We sold a lot of spots for the program. People started traveling from Nigeria, from India, from Saudi, and I discovered even people in Emirates who were doing the course that before they weren't, because people are very busy there and they can't assume, okay, I'm going to go 4 times. Maybe I missed 2, I have to travel.
Right.
So in each of the countries you start like finding those coincidences or trying things till something makes it work fantastically. So each of the countries has had its challenges. Sometimes you get to a country, you try the first thing, it works fantastic. It doesn't mean the country is less challenging, it just means you were more lucky.
We've been talking a lot about work. What does Francisco do to unwind? How do you chill out, Francisco?
I love it. I'm very passionate about things, and again, I work with entrepreneurs, not only technological, from any area. So I'm not going back to work, but I mean, some of them are working on pastry, some of them are doing sports, some of them are doing, I don't know, chess competitions. So I get very passionate about the things they bring, and then I try them myself. I'm always the first consumer. So now I'm a lot into chess. I became like. I played chess before when I was a kid, but super amateur. I never studied anything. But now I started seeing the YouTube videos, and the tools have changed in a way that they teach you. Every time you make a mistake, they tell you how to do it, and you have videos of the pros. So now I'm very fanatized with that. Before I danced salsa, before that I did poker. Every time I do something different. I love learning different. I love eating. I love traveling. I love relating with different cultures.
Right.
This purpose of putting people from all the world together to change the world, getting the most talented, but especially the most good-hearted people together, and building like some rules for everyone to get along. And we stupid human beings not to destroy ourselves anymore for superficial things.
Right.
Comes from this idea that I enjoy a lot seeing inside of others, seeing the talents, their passions, their feelings, their lives. I've been always a big fan of love. When I was younger, I fall in love, and I did this impossible love stories all over the world. And I always have something new to enjoy.
Right. And how's your experience been in India?
I came to India many times to establish the company, and each of them had their challenges, but I used that time to have a lot of fun. So I love Indian food. I'm crazy about it.
You're okay with the spice?
I learned to eat very spicy, so I try to eat as spicy as possible. I don't even ask if it's spicy. They bring it, and I go to the restaurant. Yesterday we had a fantastic meals with kebabs, and we had a special rice, and we had the naans, butter naan, cheese naan. And I go to the place and I say, bring me whatever you suggest. Are you sure? Yes, whatever you suggest. So we try new things, and that's the food part. On the other hand, I think Indian people are amazing. I'm part now, 3 years ago, I became part of TIE, that is the Indus Entrepreneurs.
Right.
By total chance. I met the leader of Microsoft Accelerator here. He recommended me in my trip to Silicon Valley to meet Vijay Menon. Then he was and he continues being the chief officer for the whole TIE. And we talked about, and there were so much values and synergies in what we were doing. He said, why don't you become a charter member?
Right.
You should be a mentor. But I said, can I be a mentor for the Indian community? Yes, you can. So I said, wow. So for like 3 years already, I've been a mentor, and we meet in Dubrovnik, and we meet in Prague, and 99% of the people are Indian, and me. So I feel every time a little bit more Indian. And I think India and Latin America are very similar.
Right.
Very similar. We are sensible people. We like to have fun. When someone we trust, we like family a lot. We protect family a lot. So I get along, and I have many Indian friends, and being here, it's a pleasure.
Any message that you would like to give out to our entrepreneurs in our country?
Yes, I think the future is changing a lot. If we talk about exponential technologies in the course, I studied in Singularity. I got all that from there. The world will have no impossibles very soon. Everyone, wherever they are, whoever they are, it doesn't matter their life story, it doesn't matter the limitations they have. In 5-10 years, everything will be so different that you can't imagine where you're gonna be. So my advice is, start working from today, get some hope, and start working little by little, or learning every day, trying to realize which your purpose in life is, what you really desire, what would be good, even in small steps, and work for it. And work for it in a sense, you don't need money. The future is gonna level things in a way. Money won't be even important in 10-15 years for human beings. Being respected by others in communities will be important. Feeling loved, like today is the same, but people confuse. We're taught since we are young that more money will bring us more friends and more happiness, and that's not true at all. More money brings more problems. And my advice is read. We have everything online for free, books, or very cheap books, courses. The best universities in the world are giving free courses. On the other hand, from learning, relate with the people you would never meet. Like spend time having coffee with people that don't have anything to do, 20 years older than you, 15 years younger, and learn their stories, what they're struggling at, how the generation changes, because you never know who's gonna change your life, and the purpose is gonna be achieved. I think the future is gonna be so different, and young generations are already living something completely different, and it's good to look for older entrepreneurs. I think it's very good to look at young generations and try to understand them, because before we started like, no, millennials, they don't like how to work, they don't like the, and it's not true. They're living today as the world is gonna be tomorrow. So just checking what they do and being near and spending time with them and seeing how they think and they feel, it's like anticipating what the future will be, and it's a good challenge.
Well, Francisco, an absolute pleasure having you on Indigo 91.9. May you continue to be this passionate. May you continue to mentor startups and help build successful businesses. Absolute pleasure.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm super grateful. I want to appreciate a lot. And for people who want to know more, it's www.scalabl.com. And you can look for me in any social media with Francisco Santolo.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get that?